Well, just after I was named auxiliary bishop out here in Los Angeles, my new boss, Archbishop Gomez, told me I had to get the Waze app. And I didn't know what that was, but the Waze app is this traffic thing that gives you directions. It tells you, how to get to places, but it also tells you how to get around traffic. It tells you if there are police around, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I got the Waze app on my phone, and I must say it was really good advice because I've used that thing practically every day. I got out here and I'd been to California a handful of times to give talks, but I didn't know anything about where I was. And my duties as a bishop were taking me everywhere. To Ventura, to Santa Barbara, to LAX, and to Granada Hills, and I'm all over the place. And I didn't know where any of these places were. So I would just plug in the directions, and often it was at night. So to make it even worse, I didn't know where I was going. But I'd plug the thing in, and this mechanical female voice would come on, and I would just follow her. I would just listen to her. And at times, because I was brand new here, it seemed counterintuitive. Like, no, you can't go right. But she's telling me, all right, I'll follow her. And, sure enough, time after time, she got me where I needed to go. And so I learned to trust the voice. Now, I'll confess there was a time, it was a couple weeks ago, when I was really tempted to disregard the voice. I was coming from Santa Barbara, where I live, into Los Angeles for a meeting. And I left super early. And I'm tooling along, and I'm doing pretty well. I'm about 25 miles outside of LA, and the traffic's not bad. Suddenly she says, get off at Winnetka Avenue. Again, about 25 miles from LA. I thought, why would she be getting me off this highway? Because that's the route. I go right down 101, right to the cathedral. I thought, well, I better listen to her. So I did. I got off at this highway, and I'm now in the city, and I'm going on side streets, and I'm going south and then east, and south again, and it's getting heavier, and there are traffic lights. I'm like, why am I in this mess? It couldn't be worse on the highway. And then finally, after I'd say about 15 or 20 minutes, she gets me back on the 101. And I remember I just kind of banged my fist on the dashboard, like, what was that all about? So I get down to the cathedral, and the meeting's about to begin, and I'm talking to one of my bishop colleagues. I told him the story, and he goes, no. There was a bad tanker spill on the 101, and it was just east of where you got off the highway. She saved you probably 2 hours of frustration. So I thought, okay, I got to trust that voice. And at that point, something which had been kind of inchoately forming in my mind became very clear, which was the Waze app is a great spiritual metaphor. So I get out here to LA, and I'm lost. I don't know where I'm going. Thomas Mertens' most famous prayer begins, my Lord God, I have no idea where I'm going. See, that's the spiritual life for most of us, is we vaguely know, okay, I want to get back to God, but how do I do that? I don't know. We get lost very easily. We follow our own impulses, which are almost always wrong. I have no idea where I'm going. But the church, happily, has provided us with this voice. Capital V now, voice. Where do you hear it? Well, you hear it in the scriptures, of course, the word of the Lord. You hear it, as John Henry Newman reminded us so powerfully, in the depth of our own conscience. The aboriginal vicar of Christ in the soul is the conscience that's telling you what to do. You hear it maybe in a very good spiritual director. You hear it in the authoritative teaching of the church. There's a voice that's telling you what to do. Is it often counterintuitive? Yes, because we're so lost. Just as I was when I got here, I didn't know where I was going. So it doesn't make a lick of sense, but I better follow it. Very often, the Bible, the church teaching, even your conscience can seem counterintuitive. That can't be right. Does the voice sometimes take you on a very circuitous, unlikely path? Yes. So you're going along and you think, yeah, that's the way to go. And suddenly the voice says, no, go somewhere else. Follow it, because sometimes it's taking you around trouble that you can't even see. It's taking you around difficulties that are not apparent to you. I'll give you a good example now of this. So a few months ago, I'm in my room at Mundelein Seminary, where I was rector, in my hometown, surrounded by friends and family, ensconced in a world that I knew very well. And the voice, capital V, came to me. And it came to me in the little voice of Archbishop Vigano, who's the Apostolic Nuncio to America, who calmly says to me over the phone, to my complete surprise, you've been named by the Pope Auxiliary Bishop of Los Angeles. And every bit of that was surprising, unnerving. It was like, get off the road at Winnetka Avenue. What? Why would... I remember saying to him, but I'm a priest of Chicago. And he said, yes, we're sending you a long way from home. So there was the voice. What do you do? Well, I mean, as sinners, we're wont to ignore it. No, I'd rather go my own way. Doesn't make any sense. Maybe I'm just so in love with my own freedom. I go where I want to go. Well, when that voice came to me, every sermon I've ever preached on your life is not about you, it's not following your path, but God's path, came to my mind. And I said, okay, I'll follow the voice. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. I think it's a wonderful spiritual metaphor for the way God deals with us. Go back to the scriptures now. How often in the story of Israel, Israel's received the voice, right? It knows the instruction. It comes through the commandments, through the patriarchs, through the prophets. But yet Israel tends to wander on its own path. This brings me to another spiritual application of this app, which is, notice how the Waze app, if you're listening, but you don't follow the voice and you go your own way, it doesn't remonstrate with you. It doesn't punish you. Rather, it recalculates and it figures out, okay, this bozo's gone the wrong way, but having gone that way, here's how I'll get him back on the right path. It gently corrects you, taking into consideration the bad move that you've made, but now reshuffling the deck, recalculating, and sending you back on your way. I've always taken a great comfort in that, actually, in the Waze app. I'm like, oh, I missed that stupid exit. But she'll get me back on the right path. Now watch how God deals with Israel as it wanders on bad paths. God never gives up on Israel. God never gives up on Israel, but recalculates, reshuffles the deck, finds a new way, finds a way forward. And so God deals with us. Here's a last observation. There's something, I'll confess, a little unnerving, but wonderful about the fact that Waze always knows where you are. I mean, like, whatever those satellites are up there and the GPS triangulation or whatever it is, you can't hide. I mean, it knows where you are. Now, thank God, because that's how it's able to direct you. Think of Psalm 139, Lord, you search me, you know me. You know my resting and my rising. You discern my purpose from afar. Before a word is even on my lips, Lord, you know it through and through. Behind and before you besiege me. Your hand ever laid upon me. God knows everything about us. God knows us into being. God knows every move that we're going to make. See, but trust in that. Don't find that oppressive, but trust in it. Trust in it. He knows who we are. He knows where we're supposed to go. He knows how to get us there. So, for God's sake, listen to the voice.